Howdy folks, today we're going to be taking a look at this Airfix 135 scale M7 Priest. It's one of the kits that I got out of my mystery box, so if you wish to go back and check that video out, I'll leave a link. So yeah, let's get a closer look at this kit. Okay folks, let's take a look. Kits, hopefully it's going to be pretty good. People say Airfix kits are not too bad. The kit number for this is A1368. I've built a couple of Airfix tanks in the past, but this one I've never done. We have two marking options, American and a British version. People say Airfix kits are reboxing of academies. I have checked it out on it, Scalemates, and that's what they say as well, so hopefully they're not too bad. So what's inside this kit? So we have your worksheet loaded with plastic and your decals. So we move this to one side. So straight off the bat we go with the worksheet. Nice worksheet from Airfix. They changed theirs up slightly. When it comes to build mine, I will be building mine roughly like it is depicted on the box art, with stowage and stuff like that. One thing about this rack, I do know that doesn't come in the kit, so we'll talk about that when we get to it. First step is different languages, different symbols to pay attention to: drilling, sanding, weights, cutting, that kind of thing. So they're asking you to work with the bogie suspension and wheels. Ask you not to glue the wheels in, so they can be free moving, because you do get some polycaps. If I'm not mistaken, this suspension setup is pretty similar to a Sherman. I think that's how Allied did most of their vehicles, so all stuff was quite easy to manufacture, and it's quite interchangeable. So Shermans, Priest, all their other tanks and stuff kind of work the same way. So once you've done 6 of these sections, you get your bathtub hole, and you can attach all your segments together, touching the idler wheel. And then with this part, here's a transmission piece which sits inside the vehicle. Here's part of the transmission floor and interior floor. We have the driver's seat and levers. So the interior is painted in number 66. Conversion, that is olive drab, so it's the same colour as the actual tank itself. And we have the front of the vehicle. We have transmission covers and that kind of thing, and your drive sprockets. We have the towing eyes, or towing hook eyes, or as I call them. We have a little bit of instrument panel going in, which is probably for the driver. And we have this piece here, which is a little cutout. That goes inside the middle of the floor. So it's probably a escape hatch maybe. And then you're working on the Howitzer gun type. Comes as slide molded, I believe. It looks like it. It's like done as 2 halves, and then you've got the actual frame. Then we have the actuators, and then the actual mechanism for the side of it, which allows it to pivot. I'm not sure what you call that. You have a couple of detail parts here, some levers. There's like a armoured plate of some sort, and then we have more detail parts for the gun itself. And then we have the floor for the gun and some support sidewall brackets, attaching that to the actual inside of the tank itself. We have the side rails of the tank with a couple of detail parts. Up here looks like a couple of seats for the crew members. I think are these segments here, that's why they give you the picture. And we have the main, I don't know if you call it front glacier maybe, which is at the front of the vehicle where the gun is. side skirts or side of the tank. We have a couple of spare seats, and these two racks need to be painted separately. I think they're like a black maybe, because there's a couple of rifles that sit inside there, which are these, which is totally down here with the rifles. Your rifles got to be painted in the brown and detailed up. Looks like a radio box or ammunition box for the rifles possibly. Engine deck going on. We have the caps for oil, fuel maybe, I'm not sure. Some grab handles. And then we have this circle piece for the turret, not turret but the machine gun area. We have a couple of storage boxes, spare tracks on the front. These boxes are the same as the tanks, they're painted green, sorry. Light guards going in, we have plastic and photo etch version. Spare tracks are obviously you want to do separately. The back of the tank, hatches, stowage, and we have the section for towing. More side storages on here. Another piece at the back, looks like another stowage and a couple of tools. We have an axe and what looks like a giant crowbar type piece. I like to do my tools separately. Attaching the upper hole and lower hole together. Don't forget to paint the inside first before touching it, because it might be easier to do it that way. It's all interior, is the same colour as the outside of the tank, the green, all on my reference pictures. Talking about that, this is what I will be using for my reference material. This is on the M7 Priest, or there's different types of versions within here. So this is the M7, the one I need, and then we have pretty good reference material, even down to their restoring one. So that's what I'll be using. And then we have the front glacier going in. The ammunition rack. The ammunition itself, I thought these were weird shells, but it turns out the shells sit inside cardboard tubes, and then shells are inside that. So these cardboard tubes will be painted like a grey, dark, blacky colour. Some spare jerry cans they give you, but it doesn't actually say where to put them. I think it's just extra tools and equipment that you can do whatever you want with. Telling you how to work the rubber tracks by using the actual end of a screwdriver method, painting the tabs. These tracks are okay because it's under tension. I'm never a fan of rubber tracks. I would like to have plastic or metal, but just for this build they will work. They will work out the box. Get your sprue map, good way of checking to make sure everything's there. Parts are not needed. And then straight into colour options, we have this one here. This is from the United States Army in Germany, 1945, so towards the end of the war. This is in the typical olive drab colour the US use, or you can do this one here, which is a slightly greener, which is khaki drab, which is from the British artillery in Italy, 1944. Being that I'm British, I probably will do the British one, because I've done a ton of American vehicles in the past. I've actually never built a British tank so far, so I need to get onto that and do an English one. So we're going to grab the parts out of the bag in no particular order. We're just going to work our way down. These sprues are in this weird olive drab browny green colour. I do know when you sand this plastic it leaves a white edge, so when it comes to painting and priming, once you've done that it gets rid of it anyway, so it's not a problem. So this first sprue is actually directly for this kit itself. It's not any thrown in parts, because I find some of their kits can be mix match, but this is actually a M7 Priest directly. So this is H, this is the front glacier or transmission cover, drive sprockets, suspension arms, front fenders. These look like the springs. These look like the suspension arms as well for the bogies. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice detail. There's those drive sprockets, covers, suspension arms. Again, looks very similar to a Sherman suspension. And then this one here is D sprue. Again, it's made for the actual priest itself, so this is direct parts. So we have two halves for this, some detail parts here. Here are your eyes for your tow cable, which they give you white rope for, and I don't really like using that. I would prefer a metal cable of some sort, so I probably will swap that out. A couple of tools. We have this segment here are the rails for the gun. We have part of your mini turret, which is where the machine gun sits, I believe. Some more rails, some more tools here. It looks like a seat. A couple of parts here. Here are those rifles and a framing for them to sit into. So you need to paint this frame, the green, and the rifle in the woody brown colour. These look like M1 Grands. Anyone knows what those rifles are meant to be? Pretty cool. These parts here are for the frame for the gun itself. The actual part of the guns itself are all slide moulded, which is a nice touch. You haven't got to worry about nasty seam lines. You've just got a couple of tabs to take care of, which should be easy. Even down to the spring is slide moulded. This part of the breech is slide moulded, so it should make up a nice gun. We have these segments here are spare pads, looks like, for the track. This one has two more screws in it. So this sprue B, and again it's directly made for this kit. It's not a thrown in piece from another kit. So we have, looks like part boxes, or I'm not sure what they are. Detail parts here. I don't know what these are. We have, looks like a cover of some sort. This is part of the floor on the inside where the crew sit working. This is the actual driver's compartment, and transmission sits in the middle there. Here's part of the transmission cover. Some detail parts here. These are the levers for the driver. We have these pieces here. Don't know what they are. These are your cardboard tubes where the shells will sit. So they've got to be like a painted grey black colour. Some seats for the crew members. Fire extinguishers. Even though on the reference material I've got fire extinguishers are painted red, but I believe wartime ones were olive drab. I will have to work that out and see what colour they are. These are the storage bins for your shells to go into. These are the covers for storage boxes, fenders, more storage boxes. This looks like the back of the tank. So pretty cool. So I'll give you a closer look at the floor. Detail parts. Looks to be a nice clean, crisp kit. Can't really see much flash. It seems pretty sharp to me. These are not hollowed out or anything, they're just moulded in a... So these are the tops. They'll be facing this way down. Looks pretty good. There are a decal to go over that instrument panel for your driver. Looks like the gauges and speed and oil and everything else. We have a tiny bag here which has weapons and stuff in it. I've lost my knife. We have two sprues here. So this one has some jerry cans, like it depicts in the instructions. You can put them together, but it doesn't actually say where to put them. So make your mind up. You've got two types of jerry can on here. and some lids, some ammo box lids. Looks like we have a Browning machine gun, and it is slide molded tip, so the end is hollowed out. Come on, focus. So it's not nicely done. Apart from these parts are not hollowed out, but made of plastic, and the way it's done is more than sufficient. I think that looks pretty good. We have this one here, which is number Y. These are the boxes, and there's the lids. So 50 calibers by the looks of things. Again, the ends are drilled out or hollowed out, so that's a nice touch. Some more ammo boxes, and the handles and attachment points for the weapons. This one looks like wheels and more suspension. So these are two identical sprues. And this is sprue A, and this is actually taken from the Sherman kit. So I was right, the road wheels and stuff and all that is interchangeable, so the lower hull is technically like a Sherman. So we have road wheels, suspension, arms, more suspension. I'm not sure if you use these pieces, or I think you use the other ones. Drive sprockets, I'm not sure if you use these. Transmission cases, I'm not sure if you use that as well. I think you probably do use that. And more suspension parts. So I'm not 100% sure what parts you use out of this and what you don't. But even if you don't use them, it gives you tons of spares to use on a dio, or even just load up your vehicle with stowage, which I am going to put on this vehicle. So parts don't go to waste. It's all pretty cool. Last piece is the lower hull and tracks. I think that's it. Oh, we have the decals. So the rubber tracks are stuffed inside the lower hull. So here's the lower hull. Get the pins on the inside. Don't worry about that because you've got some flooring to go inside. This is made for the M8 Lee lower hull, not a Sherman actually, sorry, tell a lie. So the detail looks pretty cool. Raised rivets or bolts. There's this circle piece, there is a cap that goes inside that, so I think that is a escape hatch. So nicely done. It's not a very big tank. You're probably looking at 15 centimeters in length, so not too bad. And then here are the rubber tracks. As I say, I'm never a fan of rubber tracks, but they will work, they're more than sufficient. A couple of ejector pins here you may have to take care of. The rubber tracks are better than they used to be. The old vinyl rubber tracks used to break apart, but I think they've changed the material, so it's more sturdier. But again, I'm still never, I don't know what it is. I think it's just because sometimes when the manufacturers use rubber tracks, they get it completely wrong and not the right design. But these will work. And the last piece is the markings. So we have the US markings on this side and the British on this side. So I'll probably be doing the British one. Like I say, I can't recall building a British tank in the past. So I've done a ton of American tanks and stuff and German, but not so much on the British. Done the British aeroplanes but not tanks. So there you are guys, that's it for the kit. So there you are my friends. There's another kit from Airfix. It's their 135 scale M7 Priest. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you later.